Welcome to the episode 14 summary of the Ulysses Unlocked podcast, where we analyze Ulysses by James Joyce one page at a time. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to support us. For a more detailed analysis, listen to the Ulysses Unlocked podcast, where we analyze Ulysses by James Joyce in detail, one page at a time.
Okay, so let's get right into it. How does a simple, sunny morning swim between friends end with one of them basically being kicked out of his own home? On the surface, it seems like a normal chat, but it ends with our guy Stephen Dedalus handing over his key and walking away for good. What in the world happened there? Well, we're going to unpack the subtle power plays and the deep emotional currents that turn this whole scene into a profound act of self-exile.
All right, so first, you have to picture the scene. It's this beautiful June morning back in 1904. We've got three young men hanging out by the sea at a really famous Dublin swimming spot. There's our main guy, the broody artist Stephen Dedalus, his roommate, the loud and totally domineering Buck Mulligan, and their English guest, a guy named Haines, who's kind of weirdly fascinated by the wild Irish.
Joyce is just so good at this, right? He puts you right there with these little details. You can almost feel that sea breeze, and you can definitely see Mulligan, striking a pose like he always does, making sure he's the center of attention. They're on their way down to the water, a place that should feel open and free, but it's about to become the stage for some really quiet, really cutting drama.
So, to really get what's going on, you need to know about this spot, the 40-foot. It wasn't just some random beach. Back in 1904, it was a gentleman's-only kind of place, a real Dublin institution. It was a space for guys to be themselves, away from the usual rules of society. And it's right here, in this very Dublin spot, that the loyalties between these so-called friends are about to be put to the ultimate test.
And the conversation they're having, it is so normal. It's light, it's gossipy, full of the slang people used back then. They're talking about their friends, who's dating who's changing careers. This whole casual chat about a photo girl and another friend joining the army, it creates this perfectly everyday vibe. But you gotta know, it's all a smokescreen. It's masking these really serious tensions that are just simmering right below the surface.
And the guy creating most of that smoke is, you guessed it, Buck Mulligan. This guy isn't just a character, he's a performance artist. He completely dominates every scene he's in with these loud pronouncements, his sacrilegious jokes, and his really sharp and often pretty cruel wit. He's always putting on a show, and everybody else, we're just his audience.
This line right here, this is pure Mulligan. He dramatically announces he's lost a rib, like Adam in the Bible, and then declares he's the Übermensch, a Superman. It's so over the top, it's funny, and it's incredibly arrogant. But did you catch that little dig tucked in there? Toothless Kinch? Kinch is his nickname for Stephen. So even as he's pretending to include Stephen in his little Superman club, he's making fun of his friend's bad teeth. It's a perfect little example of his casual cruelty.
And that word, Übermensch, he's not just pulling it out of thin air. It's a direct reference to the philosopher Nietzsche. Basically, Mulligan is showing off how educated he is. He's using this really complex, rebellious idea to make himself sound like some kind of modern hero who's above it all, beyond good and evil. But for him, let's be real, it's just another prop in his performance.
Okay, now let's flip the camera over to Stephen, because while Mulligan is splashing around and shouting, Stephen does the complete opposite. He pulls back, he turns away from all that noise, and just spirals inward, into the silence of his own mind, a mind that is absolutely crowded with ghosts.
This is the exact moment the whole scene just pivots. You have Mulligan's loud, physical world of right here, right now, and suddenly it's slammed up against Stephen's quiet, internal world of the past. As Mulligan dives into the cold Irish Sea, Stephen is diving into the depths of his own grief and guilt.
And this is what's going through his head. These strange, heavy Latin words just cut right through all the seaside chatter. They are so out of place here. It's a piece of a prayer that's literally haunting him. It's the sound of his private sorrow, and we're the only ones who can hear it.
Now, these words, they carry so much weight. This isn't just some random prayer he remembers. It's from the Catholic service for the dying. Stephen is hearing the words that were spoken while his mother was on her deathbed, a moment that was defined by his refusal to kneel and pray for her. This is the source of his massive guilt, this deep wound that Mulligan has already made fun of and that Stephen just cannot seem to escape.
So there you have it, this incredibly stark contrast. On one side, you've got Mulligan, who lives completely on the surface. He's all about loud jokes, making fun of religion, being physical. And on the other side, you have Stephen, who is basically drowning in the depths of his own mind, silent, haunted by Catholic rituals, and just consumed by memory. They are standing in the same spot, but man, they are living in completely different worlds.
And this clash of worlds, it is about to come to a head. The scene ends with what looks like a simple transaction, but trust me, it is not about a key or a couple of coins. It is a final, decisive transfer of power.
Just look at how this goes down. Mulligan doesn't ask, he demands, "Give us that key." And Stephen, he just complies, no fight at all. Then Mulligan pushes it even further, demanding money for a beer. And Stephen's gesture, throwing the coins down on the clothes, that's an act of finality. It's resignation. In just a few simple moves, he has given up his home. He's given up his money. He is completely surrendered.
As Stephen walks away, hearing Mulligan's voice calling out to him from the water, one single, powerful word forms in his mind: usurper. A usurper. It's such a great word. It's someone who takes something, a throne, a position, a home, that isn't rightfully theirs. And for Stephen, this word is absolutely perfect, because he feels like Mulligan has just staged a coup against him, and not just on one front, but on several.
So let's break this down, because this is the heart of it. This betrayal happens on 3 different levels. First, physically. Mulligan takes the key to the tower that Stephen paid rent on. He's effectively been kicked out of his own home. Second, socially. Mulligan is so clearly favoring the rich English guest, Haines, over his supposed Irish friend, Stephen. It's a betrayal of national loyalty in a way. And finally, and this one is the most important, artistically, Mulligan has taken Stephen's deep, painful struggles with his faith and his family and turned them into material for cheap jokes. He's taken over Stephen's very identity as a serious artist.
So why does all this matter? I mean, it's just a little spat between roommates, right? Wrong. This quiet, painful moment by the sea is the event that actually kicks off the entire novel. It's Stephen's first real step into the exile that is going to define his whole day.
The stakes become crystal clear when Stephen thinks to himself, "I will not sleep here tonight." That's it. He is now officially homeless. He can't go back to the tower, and he feels like he can't go to his family's house either. This one act sets him off, wandering through Dublin on a quest not just for a bed for the night, but for a true home for his soul and for his art. Which of course leaves us with some pretty big questions. This whole thing is a huge betrayal by a friend. So as Stephen wanders the city alone, is there any chance he can find the guidance he needs? Maybe from a real father figure somewhere out there in Dublin. And what about his art? I mean, his whole ambition is to be a great writer, but he is completely paralyzed by his grief and guilt. How is he supposed to create anything new or beautiful when he's being dragged down by the ghosts of his own past? And finally, let's zoom out a bit. His Irish friend, Mulligan, has sided with Haines, the Englishman, the stranger in the house. So if Stephen feels betrayed by his own friends and totally alienated from his country, what does it even mean for him to be an Irish artist in the first place?
These are the huge, complicated struggles that launch one of the most famous journeys in all of literature. A single act of betrayal by the sea sets an artist adrift and sends him searching for a new home for his body, his mind, and his soul. To really get into these questions, be sure to listen to the full analysis on the Ulysses Unlocked podcast.